The Square Ball Podcast.
Hello there. Welcome. This is Propaganda, the show where we find out what's been said in the football world about Leeds United games, about other games, if something funny happens. The show is brought to you in association with Levi Solicitors. Moving house anytime soon?
I'm not, but if I was...
It's a new year, isn't it? New year, new you, new house.
Should I do it anyway?
I think
just so I can give them some business.
Yes.
Not that they're struggling, because they're doing really well, because they're a fine company.
Yes.
They will do you 10% off.
Yeah, 10% off your legal fees at levisolicitors.co.uk/the square ball. Or just holler, mention us when you get in touch with them. They don't just do conveyancing.
Nope.
At least two other services that I'm aware of that they do.
Yeah, they do wills and probate, which are both sort of linked.
Mm-hmm.
But other ones too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the best you can do now.
Yeah, you tell us about those ones.
What, the dispute
Moscow.
resolution, the
Moscow's here.
commercial property things?
He uses legal services all the time.
Yeah. What's your favourite?
That was a lie, Michael, wasn't it? So I don't think we should be premising our sponsorship messages, as lengthy as they are, on lies.
Okay, fair enough.
So, what's the truth then?
He never uses any. He lives off grid in his car.
Just stay out of trouble.
Yeah, it's fair enough.
I mean, it's not trouble moving house. It is trouble moving house, but you're not in the sort of...
Not if you use Levi Solicitors. It's an absolute dream.
Yeah, pain-free experience. Should we stop now? Should we stop
10%
now?
cheaper if you go to the levisolicitors.co.uk/the square ball.
Let's stop now. Let's do some clips, shall we? Find out what has been said in the football world this week. We beat Peterborough in the FA Cup. That's fun, isn't it? We can react to the draw now because the draw wasn't made, obviously, with the match ball and the show with Phil. We've got a home tie against Plymouth, which I think we predicted on the match ball, didn't we? But we did say it would be away.
Rob did call Plymouth away. I think it's because it was the prospect.
Why are you giving Rob individual credit when we said we?
Because it was Rob who said it.
Right.
Yeah. It's fair enough. It was Rob who said it. I think it's because we were fancying 2 trips to Plymouth in the space of what would have been 2 weeks or something, and how shit that would have been. But a home game, take that. I mean, it's dead boring.
Yeah.
Really, really shit boring tie.
Yeah.
But,
But it's a chance to go through, which is not something I feel like we've had very much in recent years.
Yeah, and I didn't want many of the games, actually. When you was watching it being drawn, I was going, no.
In terms of favourable ties to try and get through to the 5th round, that's probably one you'd pick, I suppose.
It is shaping up a little bit like last year. I suppose we needed the replay for Cardiff last year, but then got through against Accrington, so we did get through to the 5th round, but then just Fulham 2-0 was about as drab as it could get, wasn't it? So not yet feeling the cup excitement, apart from when obviously Patrick Van Basten is volleying them in from all angles. So maybe if you can do that again against Plymouth, it'll be worth it for the 15,000 people who turn out to our long-awaited home tie.
It'll sell out.
Of course it'll sell out, yeah.
There'll be tickets for kids. People can be complaining about how it was full of knobheads around them because it was all these Johnny-come-latelys who've turned up for the cup game and all this sort of stuff. But,
yes.
But, I think it's nice that people have an opportunity to go to games.
It's been, and the home draw is significant, so got to take full advantage of it because we don't know when it will happen again. If you want to see cup football at Elland Road, there's only been the Cardiff replay, so fill your eyes.
Right. Let's get on to the clips then of said Peterborough game and said Patrick Bamford goal. And shall we go into the Peterborough fan channels first? What hath you found then, Michael Normanton?
With Cape United and Borough on my mind. Now, it seems to be the same people on both of these channels, which is a bit confusing. I think it's just, people within the group, they've both decided to do their own thing. I think join them up rather than have the same people on different channels. One of the people in the group is called Tobber. The papal in the group is called Tobber because they're referring to this as
is he the Pope specifically? Is he the most papal?
He did have the hat on, actually. Now think about it. Yeah, it does make sense.
Does he have his own mobile? Driving to the game in a glass box, a grass box. Nobody can really get the words out today.
It's very difficult speaking and that. So anyway, he's there. He's not the one filming though, but he seems to be a Peterborough fan as well. I don't know if it's just because he's from there. I couldn't quite grasp it. I wasn't willing to go and listen to backstory because
lazy.
It's a Peterborough fan channel. Right. I don't feel it's worth my investment. It's not what I'm going to go into time and time again for stuff because with a bit of luck, we won't play him ever again.
Do they have any episodes on their channel about welcoming a new manager? Like, who is this mysterious Darren Ferguson? So, what do we know about him? What might he bring? Is there anything like that?
There probably is, but yeah, just reused over and over.
What have you brought to the table?
So this is them talking about Leeds fans, because I guess League One, you tend to get not great attendances, so if you've not seen a big away following before, something to be impressed by.
I don't think I've ever heard noise like it.
Nice assessment.
See, some of the reports online said it was a shit away day.
Yeah.
But if you read Wacko, terrible, full of old men not singing, useless, horrible.
I could hear him then.
Leeds fan away support, terrible, typically terrible. He was impressed anyway.
Can we hear Bamford's goal then, their take on that?
We can.
How has he done that? It's Patrick Bamford with a screamer of a goal. Where did that come from? The half's just started. And it looks like that's game over.
I think so, don't you?
I think you could hear applause around him, couldn't you?
It was a smattering of
Telling
clapping,
people
wasn't
going,
there?
oh, actually, wow, that is, no, fair. I think I saw that happen at Ellen Road once. I'm sure Matt Letizia once scored a really good goal and there was a
Did he
tiny
though?
bit
Is
of
that
applause.
just what he wants you to think?
Well,
Roy
was-
Wegley, are you going to mention that?
There was Roy Wegley, there was also Jeremy Goss with probably a Bamford-esque volley from a Rule Fox cross in a 4-0 defeat to Norwich City.
bloody hell.
Yeah, it was quite a bad time. But Norwich went on, that was the season that they were beating Bayern Munich and playing into Milan and stuff.
Jeremy Goss scoring a volley in that as well.
Yeah.
Bloody loved him.
He had a right hot streak. I don't remember a Letizia one, but those two always stick out.
Right. Borough on my mind, and so same people but different name.
And I think Tobber is one of these, the one who's saying Leeds were good. I believe that's Tobber.
Maybe it's just two mates and they just take it in turns.
Full time then. Unfortunately, Posh 0, Leeds 3. I thought we definitely deserved a bit more from it if we took our chances, but we didn't. I'm sure Todd Rover is very happy with that.
Leeds are probably one of the best teams we've seen at London Road this season. Controlled it from minute one, I thought. I didn't think they got out of first gear either. It was a very controlled performance, in my opinion.
They were probably the best team we've seen at London Road because we've only played League One teams, really. But Max, what did you think?
At the end of the day, look, it's Leeds. They were Premier League last season. I said it in pretty much Posh. You know, they were Premier League last season, and what a brilliant team they are. And again, as I agree with Tobber, they look controlled, didn't get out of first gear. That Patrick Bamford goal was absolutely unbelievable. But at the end of the day, look, I personally think that at times we look better than Leeds. And I think that, especially in the first half, there was moments where we looked like we could go and take the game.
Which times were there?
I don't remember any.
They had about 15 minutes before Ampadu scored when we wasted those early chances. You know, Archie Gray should have, instead of passing it straight back to the keeper, should have put that in. And there was, didn't Peru have a couple of shots? Bamford kept getting the ball stuck under his feet in their penalty area, and all those could have been stuck away. And then they had the 15 minutes, that classic kind of swing of confidence that Bamford's precise intervention to set up Ampadu sorted out. After that, wasn't really a problem. They had a little bit at the end of the first half as well, but that's always, we always, as soon as the board goes up for stoppage time, all our players kind of go, should we give them a chance? I don't know if it's kind of...
Just relax, half time's coming.
Kind of, yeah, and they end up playing Farker roulette, where it's, should we see if we give him something to shout at us about? Or maybe if they're trying to put him off, he'll have done his half-time team talk, let's see if we can make him rewrite it on the hoof. But we got through that all right, and then, second half, Bamford did what he did, and it got a bit boring after that, which was the unusual thing about the FA Cup with us. When they're saying that we didn't get out of first gear, that's probably, we didn't have to after Bamford had done that.
Absolutely knacker your engine not getting out of first gear. Maybe not out of second gear.
Third, middle lane.
Yeah.
I think we didn't talk enough about the Bamford goal, really, on the match ball. I did get home and reflect on it and watch it because I was watching it over and over again on various, because it was just all my Twitter feed was just full of that goal. I just kept watching it. I was like, that is actually one of the best things I've ever seen.
But Farker mentioned it in the post-match, didn't he? He's like, there's not much more I can say other than it's just world class, and it's so good that it stands on its own merits. You kind of go, wow.
And I think because it comes in a slightly inconsequential moment in a game that we were probably going to win anyway, and it almost loses some significance there. Whereas like your Boas, you can go, it was against Liverpool, it was in the Premier League.
The only goal of the game.
The only goal. Whereas this is kind of like, well, we're probably going to win anyway. So what you wasted it for, Pat? But I mean, the technique and everything, it is just ridiculous.
Yeah, good goals like this transcend the circumstances. Like your Boas goal against Liverpool was the first home game of the season, so it didn't really matter. It had something because it was on Sky. And then the ones against Wimbledon a couple of weeks later had the thing because it came so soon afterwards. But an away win at Wimbledon in August or September isn't really a massive deal, fairly standard. Dakara still, that came up in conversation around this, and it's the only good thing Dakara did for Leeds, and didn't outweigh refusing to play for us. But you still
and biting that fella.
The biting was good.
That fella, yeah. But you will still never forget that goal. And then the one Lorimer scored in the 70s, I think against Manchester City, where it was pretty much from the same patch of grass as Yeboah scored his volley from, but he set himself up for it by flicking it over a player's head and then whacking it in off the crossbar from 30 yards. I couldn't tell you what the date was of that goal, whether it was just a league game. It wasn't particularly important, but it will always get replayed. So if you're doing a compilation of great Leeds United goals, this one by Bamford will always be in it. And so it kind of doesn't matter, what else he's done, what else he ever does. However he leaves, it will always be that goal, and it might come like with all no disrespect to Peterborough, but it will probably go by so fast on some of the montages. It was like, who was that against? And nobody will remember anything about the game, but everyone will always remember the chest, the turn, the little getting his feet into place, and then not even hitting it that hard. I think thunderbastard is the wrong term for this because it's not a rocket. It's not 90 miles an hour. It's just as hard as it needs to be. It was more technique than power. Somehow
it was a laser-guided missile, Moscow, wasn't it? Somehow,
for the way he's done it, it's more about the placement and the technique than it is about absolutely leathering it. Which makes me wonder when he says, "Oh, I didn't know where the keeper was, and I didn't know the guy was on the ground, so I just hit it." I was like, "There's a little bit more."
It's got that. It's got that very pleasing loop about it that you can only get when you hit a volley, and it just dips perfectly.
And what he's describing there as well, it's pure instinct, isn't it? There's not even really the time to process the thought, other than it happens to be at a height that's good to hit. And as he said, he didn't even cotton on to the fact the guy was on the floor. I'm just gonna. Oh, good, fine, bang.
The defending falling over is a nice little extra touch though, because it's like his chest controller's confused him that much that he's gone, oh, I've lost my balance. He just has to. He's got no option but to fall over.
Anyway, let's get down to the more important matters. Was it a penalty on Nonto? Thankfully, due to the Game Day channel, we now have a definitive answer.
He was commentating like an actual commentator throughout this, which, if I was next to him, I think I'd be like, "Come on, mate, come on."
It's non-side. That's brilliant. There was VAR. There you go, Bosch.
Oh, that little sign-off, was it? There you go, Bosch.
Was it here go Posh or something?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Was he saying that there is VAR?
No, he was saying if there was VAR.
If there was VAR, yeah, he wasn't very. If he is going to commentate full time, he probably needs to work a little bit on his elocution, and then I'm not sure. Whoa!
I mean, it would be well annoying, wouldn't it, having someone just stood there bellowing into a phone trying to overcome the noise of the crowd.
Yeah, he did have a very good view of that penalty though, because you can. He was during the second half. There was that Peterborough shot that flashed wide of the post.
Yeah,
he was stood there, as we were about to find out.
Yeah,
so he had a good view of the Nonto one.
Well, we're saying about the idea of being a content creator within a ground when you are viewing it. It's like people at concerts, isn't it? And I'm doing old man shouting at cloud now, but everybody watching everything through their phones. There are dangers attached to doing that, aren't there, Michael?
So this is where the video cuts short, and I say that I was actually winded yesterday when an F formation Clark shot unfortunately hit the post and flipped into me. Normally that'd be okay, I'd just get up and carry on, but as you can probably tell by my voice now, I'm under the weather. I've been under the weather for the last few days, as we heard in the Norwich video as well. Yes, that's all compounded on me not feeling very well during the game, and really not feeling well after being winded from that shot. Very powerful shot, of course, from a professional footballer.
Had to get that one in.
It was really hard. If you watch it back, you can see it says it hits the post. It doesn't mean the goal post. There's a post behind the goal, and it just deflects off that and straight into him.
You don't want that, do you?
He was feeling poorly anyway.
I had a poorly tummy and the ball.
And they
hit me.
lost and all that.
He's
Bad
just
news.
going.
And
What's he called?
And he lives in Peterborough. That's Game Day is the
Game
channel.
day.
Hope he feels better soon. Game day. It's good of your parents to some foresight to name him that when there was probably YouTube wasn't invented when he was born, I imagine, but it's being christened Game Day.
Have you ever been hit by the ball? Not sure I have.
Not a match. No, I've had one sail, I think, sort of close to my head. Because we used to sit, when I was a kid, we used to sit just off centre in, well, I say sit, stand it was. I used to sit on the wall, held in place by a parent, just off to the side of the goal. So you occasionally, if you got one of those shots that spin off the outside of a right foot away from goal.
The Steve Morrison.
Yeah, sailed close to my head. But that's the closest I've ever come. I don't think I've ever caught one, and certainly not deflected one.
Too fast for my reactions.
Yeah.
Oof, you won't catch me getting winded.
Just like a ninja.
I'd have headed it back.
This is probably unnecessary, but should we have a little laugh at Darren Ferguson?
From 2011, or whenever it was.
Yeah.
When Keith Stroud was refereeing.
Is that right?
Would you believe? The referee he was complaining about in this sort of famous clip was none other than the pig man himself.
There's 4 minutes of stoppage time given. I think the goal was scored in the 95th minute. That must be extremely frustrating.
Well, there's no point in having it. Time added on. The referee just plays what he wants. I'm stood by the linesman who said time's up, and he plays 2 extra minutes. So.
And at 2-2, even down to 10 men, you look like the team that were most likely to score.
I thought we were going to win it because we had a couple of free kicks. But he asked me a question about the referee. He's played 6 minutes injury time. So what's the point in having it?
And the free kick, the circumstances for that goal.
It's not a free kick.
David Ball foul.
It's not a foul. But look, I mean, it makes me laugh that you're doing your job by asking me the question, and then the FA will probably look at it and think, well, he's not allowed to say that. But what do you want me to say? I mean, what can I say to that? The referee was right. 4 minutes is 4 minutes.
A minimum of 4 minutes.
A minimum of
everybody knows that, don't they?
He's also completely dismantling all his father's achievements in one interview. Imagine if Man United under his dad had to stick determinedly to the referee's stoppage time. They would never have got that goal against Sheffield Wednesday in, what was it, the 20th minute?
I was thinking of exactly the same one when they're all dancing on the pitch. They
wouldn't have won the European Cup.
Sure, I tell you what, if we can come to some agreement with the Ferguson family, he can have that. He can have a point from that meaningless game in 2011 when Paul Rahubka was in net for us, by the way. So should the points even count? They were down to 10, but so were we, effectively. And he was at fault for both of their goals, actually, as well.
I saw a clip of Keith Stroud from, I think it was the weekend when Chelsea brought on one of their young players, and Stroud is kind of holding...
Was the young player towering over him?
Yes, and he's Stroud has got his hand out, kind of to say, don't run on yet, but the player is obviously not very experienced at coming on, thinks he wants to shake hands, and so they end up shaking hands really awkwardly, and then Stroud says something to him, which must have been like...
That's not a trotter.
That's not what I meant to do. So that was...
I had an awful feeling you would say he cupped him by accident or something like that.
No, I wouldn't have. I don't think that. No.
Should we check in on the rest of the football world then?
Let's go Premier League. There weren't any cup upsets as such, were there?
People upset by the cup.
Yeah, there were people upset by it. Steve Evans lost, and Stevenage lost to some non-league chumps. Can't remember. Maidstone, that was it.
Non-league chumps. The most romantic story in the cup all this year. They were step fucking 102 5 minutes ago, and now here they are romping into the fourth round for the glory of the Kent.
Probably, yeah. Or somewhere down there.
And you're calling them non-league chumps. When we draw them in the fifth round and they knock us out, this will be replayed ad nauseum.
Steve Evans was reasonable about it anyway. I did watch him.
Yeah.
He was fine. But Arsenal weren't out
Yes.
If you want someone you can rely on to not be reasonable, it's them. They actually played very well. I didn't watch this game, but you can see from the stats and from the highlights, they had loads of chances. Actually played really well. Should probably have won it. And then Liverpool went and scored just before the end and then added another. But this is the Mr. Arsenal podcast when Liverpool take the lead.
And now it's 1-0 Liverpool. And now it's fucking 1-0 Liverpool. When the fuck did anyone want to fucking listen? We are fucking embarrassing.
Told you it was coming.
We are absolute fucking embarrassing.
Dominated the game, made one sub.
We have been absolute mugged off, mate. We have been absolute fucking mugged off here, yeah, right? And this is absolute fucking bollocks. And it's been coming. It's been coming for the last 5 minutes. Because do you know what?
Yeah.
No one wanted to take any responsibility. Absolute zero fucking responsibility out there. It's an own goal to wrap it up even more. It's a fucking own goal.
Did it to yourselves, didn't you? Headed it into your own net.
They did. But that's just one guy.
Yeah.
Curtis Shaw TV. This is it going 2-0 and he's keeping it in perspective.
Finds Diaz. He scores. It's over. What a finish. Top corner, 2-0. The most embarrassing defeat you will ever see in your entire life as an Arsenal fan. It's over. Whatever the process is, it's done and dusted. This is embarrassing. This guy's been through his dad being kidnapped, still coming back and bagging against us. You're a joke of a football club at this point. Get rid of the Cronkies. Get rid of this manager. Sell these players. Hit the reset button and start again.
Just fold the club.
Fold the club.
Sounds easier.
The thing is, he doesn't even mean it. You can tell he's just saying things to...
I enjoy his justification that he can't be scoring. His dad got kidnapped. Should he be? Does he have to retire?
Something of a non sequitur, yeah.
Because if he can't ever do anything after that, just call it a day.
He's just got to go home and watch over his dad.
Yeah, just check he's all right.
Yeah.
No, it's
preferably with a big gun.
Is his dad all right now? I just thought I've not been following this story.
Well, yeah, I think he
clearly.
Although they flew him in, didn't they, to spend Christmas in Liverpool, so it didn't necessarily turn out all that well.
It's a shame for him.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the timeline, and I don't want to get anybody into trouble. I'm sure Mickey Thomas won't mind. But at what point was Mickey Thomas in trouble for the thing that he did?
the fake notes?
Yeah. Laundered money, arrested in 1993. He'd been attacked in August 1992 when he got 15 stab wounds to his left buttock.
This is, by the way, Mickey Thomas did play for us towards the back end of the 80s, didn't
he? Yeah, I think, well, it's right here. He had 3 games. We signed, and then we got hold of Vinnie Jones, who were like, he's probably better. But yeah, so that was around the time we scored the free kick that knocked Arsenal out. He was at Wrexham at the time. So yeah, it just made me think. When he was like, this is the most embarrassing cup defeat that has ever happened to Arsenal in anybody's lifetime. Wrexham was a much bigger deal at that point. And if we're down to players can't play because their dads have been kidnapped, well, you've been stabbed 15 times in the arse and then you've been done for fraud. What's the word for fraud when you're doing money? Counterfeiting, yeah.
Fraud when you do it money, yeah. LeviSolicitors.co.uk/the square ball for advice.
Then imagine how that young man would have reacted at that time. Sell Steve Bold.
Arsenal Fan TV have weirdly become like the cool heads in the Arsenal fan base now. When you watch them, they're keeping it roughly on an even keel. They're like unhappy, obviously, because they're losing games now and they thought they might win some stuff. But people like Lee Gunner, this is 2-0 for him, and he's another one who's not all together on board with the project anymore.
I said this game ends 2-0.
2-0.
How do I know this? How do I know the game's ending 2-0, bro? Because I've seen the same fucking script for 15 years, bro. How do I know?
Look at that. Look at it.
Get them all out, man. Bin the lot. Rip it all out. Kick them all out. Fuck them.
Feels disproportionate.
It does a bit. And also, in the last 15 years, haven't Arsenal won the FA Cup like 5 times or something?
Did you see
it all the time?
Did you see the little entitled chump whose clip did the rounds outside? He was saying, I want a Champions League. It's just a little kid, just saying little kid things. I mean, we could have put him on here and really rinsed him, but let's do it without the clip instead. When he was saying, I want a Champions League. I've seen us win the FA Cup. I want a Champions League. It's like, all right, mate.
Feel bad bullying a child, but yeah. Just you don't deserve anything.
feel bad bullying a child. Remember what you said when we first kicked off match ball with the post-derby
right.
kind of... You called a child a bitch.
All right, he's a miserable little prick.
Right, good.
Be glad he's seen an FA Cup win. It's more than I've seen.
Yep. Where do we go next then, please, Michael?
Do you want to stay in the UK or do you want to go? Do you want to go abroad?
Saudi Arabia.
It's not nice there, as it turns out.
Right. Jordan Henderson. Who could have foreseen? It's hot. Things are not necessarily great for women, and nobody watches the league.
No, there's no way you could have known.
No one could have known.
You've got to go out there and see and find out, I suppose.
Yes.
But yeah, it turned out it's not great.
Yeah.
Should we stick in in Yorkshire or not, depending on the Middlesbrough conundrum that we've had in recent weeks? Well, Tyneside Life were interviewing Sunderland fans ahead of the derby that they had with Newcastle.
Right.
And this is what Sunderland make of Middlesbrough.
And I want to put this on state. Borough is not a derby. You're not a derby. You're town in Yorkshire. You'll never be a derby. When we lost against you 4-0 this season, I wasn't bothered. But if we lose against you, I'm in a mood for a week. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I do not want to lose against you. On that 90 minutes, no offence to yourself, I detise you. I detise everything about Newcastle.
Detise?
You detise it as well.
It's not normal, is it? Detising.
Despise? Detest?
Detising. Yeah, they're stuck in Middlesbrough, aren't they? No one wants them.
Yeah, they might sort of accede to the Netherlands. I was quite surprised when the guy said it would only upset him for a week, given that the reaction to the game at the weekend seemed to be just lots of people sitting in country pubs on their own, offering each other out over Twitter. Like taking it very seriously for great long distance. All these people who are absolutely not going to meet up with each other because they've got to drive for about 30 miles. But that seems to be the way it all went down.
So also on Tyneside Life, ahead of the derby, the guy was in Sunderland asking people if they knew where the term Mackem comes from.
Yeah.
Did you know?
I did.
Because I never remember. I've heard it.
I lived up there and I worked up there, so I kind of,
But a lot of people in Sunderland didn't know because he was going around the town centre asking people.
Yeah, because it's like Mackem as in make them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They mack them. We mack them and they attack them.
Yeah.
Because of the ships and that.
What we make them, they take them.
Yeah.
I thought it was. I don't know if it was just an urban myth, but it was like make them do this, make them do that, as in make them do this, like ordering them round.
Oh, okay.
Like they were somehow subservient to Newcastle. I don't know. But anyway,
whatever. Anyway, this guy's in Sunderland town centre, and in that way that, in fairness, most northern town centres, if you go there during the day, there's some characters hanging around, and he's mainly approaching people, asking him questions. This guy finds him. I think we'll describe him as a local character, and he comes over and speaks to him.
Yes! What's this all about?
Hello, mate. How are you doing? I like your singing voice.
I'm doing fine, my man.
Hey? What were you singing?
It was Rocky 4. It was a lick Rocky 4 called Burning Heart. Because it's East against the West. And man against man.
So you're having a couple of sherbets, having a good time?
Just a couple. A couple.
So you can ask, are you from Sunderland?
I'm originally from Sunderland, yes, but I don't live here. I've came through today because I've got my own YouTube channel, by the way. If you want to sub to me, it's called RA9 Gamer. RA9 Gamer. I tend to go out and record the police and record government wrongdoings. But today we're just vlogging and we're just having a couple of drinks with me friend who's in the shop just buying these toys.
As long as he's having a nice time.
I checked in on his channel. It's what you'd expect.
What was he buying, the friend?
A shirt, I think, or something.
Oh, buys these tops.
His tops, that was it, yeah. He was, he sat on a bench with 6 cans of Carlsberg. It's
not a bad life, is it?
Having a few tins. His YouTube channel, he does film. When he says he's filming government wrongdoing, if you were expecting some investigative journalism,
I don't feel like...
He seems more like he's going out pestering people.
Right.
And like just generally getting in the police's face a bit until they go, mate, can you fuck off? And then he goes, oh, you can't say that. And it just goes on. And there's also some clips of him with his dog, which are quite nice. It's called like German Shepherd Best Day Ever. Is one of the videos. It's quite a contrast to the government conspiracy stuff.
It seems increasingly difficult for anybody out on the streets doing Vox Pops for the YouTube channel to find anybody else who is not doing Vox Pops for their YouTube channel.
Eventually, everybody will they'll be doing Vox Pops with each other. Won't
it could be what revives northern town centres. Everyone's like, how do we get people in? Do we open up restaurants? Do we pedestrianise it? Do we do this? No.
YouTube channels?
Yeah, it's going to be some maybe a place where you can just rent some video equipment, some better microphones, borrow those, and make it YouTube friendly.
Well, he's very keen to be on YouTube because he's hanging around. You can't see him on this video clip, but the guy
I've got a feeling how this is going to. You're just going to hear him distantly.
The guy from Tyneside Life, he's off trying to interview some more people about names up there and how people in Sunderland used to be called Geordies before the ships, and because it was mining and it was Geordie Lamp, all this sort of stuff.
The Geordie Lamp, yeah.
But the guy is following him clearly by this point. Maybe he thinks he's from the government,
like a moth to a flame.
But you can hear him trying to speak to someone else, and this guy just will not fuck off.
Miners in this whole area, even Sunderland, might have been referred to as Geordies. Have you heard that?
Yes, I've heard that.
Okay.
Me being a young man, though, born in like the late 80s, me it's all just been new monkey.
Do you know?
Bum bum bum.
Do you know when you?
Knee miners, knee coal mines, and out like as it was knee jobs for us when I was growing up.
Do you know? Do you know when you
finding myself, bro?
Do you know when you call people Mara? Do you know where that comes from?
See him, Merton?
No, go on, educators.
The miners?
In the very early days, right, you used to go down the pit and like in gangs.
Yeah, I told you miners.
And some wouldn't work and some would graft, and the all got equal pay.
Just won't go away.
I'm just sat here now imagining a sort of a more new breed American Leeds fan sat here listening to this going, I don't know what's happening.
I like his quiz tactic, though. Just like he says, well, do you know where that comes from? Is it the miners? Because in some way, probably...
Ships are miners.
It's going to relate to that. It's like, yeah, it's a 50-50 chance. Miners? Yes, sort of.
Right. Now, let's restore some sanity, Michael.
Let's stay in Sunderland.
Yep.
We'll not reveal the name of this channel until we're halfway through this clip.
Right.
Just 'cause it might give you a clue. But this is a match day vlog with a bit of a difference.
Yes, this should be a lively one. It's Derby Day, Sunderland versus Newcastle in the third round of the FA Cup.
All pretty standard.
Yep.
So far.
Yep.
Probably going to go into the game, get some footage.
Preview.
Home fans, away fans, all that sort of stuff. Nope.
No?
Not with it. Not for this guy.
I'm not going to the match, but I'm out now trying to get some footage, soaking up the atmosphere before the big kick-off. When the game kicks off, I'm going to go down into my camping spot, which is at the back of the car park, right next to the Stadium of Light. I'll get all my gear set up, and then after the game, I'll come back out. Hopefully Sunderland's won, but if they haven't, I'll still be out and about.
Is it a camping show?
It's the Blot Outdoors show.
And he's camping next to the Stadium of Light?
He's gone to camp in the bottom of the car park at the Stadium of Light.
Now, I would urge
some trees.
anybody to have a look on like Google Maps or Apple Maps or whatever on the satellite view of where the Stadium of Light is.
Pretty bleak.
Yeah, it's not...
But it's a bit like if you went to camp at Ellen Road, I suppose.
Yeah.
You could probably have a look at his channel and see it there. See exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, it is a thing, is this? Wild camping.
Stealth camping.
Stealth camping, that's it.
I was going to say, because this ain't wild, is it? I mean,
No.
I know Sunderland is a bit wild.
He does do some stuff where he goes actually into the outdoors, but I did watch something similar once where a bloke was sleeping in the middle of a roundabout by some shopping centre, and part of the thrill is like that you're getting away with it and the police don't see you.
Right.
Because you'll get moved on. Well, yeah, because you're just he's in some trees at the bottom of a car park,
right
outside the stadium.
Although there's one thing to know, he's getting more views than we do.
Right.
So got to respect the hustle. Secondly, which is possibly translated into what I'm looking at is him in full camping gear outside the Stadium Light in Sunderland in the dark. It's obviously nighttime, and he's drinking from a bottle of whiskey, which is
returning to a theme.
And yet, I think probably as a consequence of him getting 34,000 views on these videos, it's a bottle of Knob Creek. So it's like really expensive bourbon that he's chugging away on.
It was a gift, was that?
Oh, really?
Someone had sent it to him.
Was it you who gave him it?
It had the name.
You're not buying Knob Creek.
It was thanking the... I don't like the drink anyway. He was thanking the people who'd sent it because he'd written it on the bottle. Or they had, probably. But he did a little taste test in there.
Yeah,
you got to listen to him chomping his way through a full pack of Aldi, like little chicken satay sticks. You know, maybe the barbecue chicken ones. You know, they come with little skewers.
Little skewer, yeah.
But
which part of the chicken do you reckon that is?
The mechanically extracted bits.
Yeah.
I would imagine that are all reformed,
pasted together. I mean, I will say, by the way, there are trees that like back onto the River Wear by the Stadium of Light. But anyway,
He's in his little tent now with his still got his camping light on. He's obviously doing a taste test between a bottle of Peroni and a bottle of Rossini. So he's got the Peroni in his right hand, the Rossini in his left, and he's just going like glug, glug, one to the other after the other. It's great.
You can't tell the difference between them. It was his conclusion.
Well, and yeah, he's given it. I mean, this goes on for ages. He's just
it's a long clip.
Chugging these down. But just because you don't like Knob Creek, it doesn't mean that other people on this podcast will not accept bottles of bourbon if they're sent to the office.
Oh, okay, fine.
Just saying that. Look, yeah, I mean, there's just a.
He's got a couple of bottles of wine there. He's got like the little single serving.
He's got some herbed baby potatoes. He's got a
steak.
Yeah, he's got a raw sirloin steak still in its wrapper. There's some
mate.
Oh, it's Parmesan.
I'm not being funny, right? I'm just having a look at this on the map. There's a fucking Tesco Extra.
Yeah, it's where he's been. All this is Tesco stuff.
Yeah, gigantic supermarket.
A lot of it's Aldi, actually.
Yeah, but there's an Aldi just north of the stadium. It's close. There's a Tesco Extra within about 200 yards of the stadium, and he's wild camping. Well, mate, it's not the frontier, is it?
Yeah, but I mean,
it's not frontier. It's not Gold Rush land.
If you start slaughtering your own pigs by the side of the Stadium of Light, then, first of all, Keith Stroud joke. Secondly, you're probably going to get into trouble with people, so you're better off just going to a shop.
Let's do a clip anyway.
Let's see what it sounds like, this experience.
Well, folks, there you go. All quiet now. After our 3-0 defeat. But we're not going to let that dampen our spirits here, guys, on the Blot Outdoor Show. I've been getting the old 10 dingo up, mandingos. And just as I was putting my tent up, it started lashing down. Get this torch turned up a bit. Oh, yes. There we go, guys. Me seat's soaking. Well, however, let's pop in. Oh, yes. Let's get in the old tenteroonie mandingos. Oh. Yes, we're not going to let losing the football game dampen the spirits. In the bit of rain, dampen the spirits on the Blot Outdoor Show, guys.
Why do people do this on YouTube? Say guys, but address your right guys.
Mandingos. It says that as well. I don't quite understand the mandingos.
The Hilton Garden Inn, by the way, is right next to the Stadium of Light. I hope he stayed there. Really, I hope he filmed this, then he went and stayed in the Hilton Garden.
I'm sort of jealous of him here because he is sleeping in on a bit of grass verge.
You want to sleep rough in Sunderland in a tent?
But listen how happy he is.
Yeah.
When I'm looking at stuff on Airbnb, I'm such a picky fucker. I'm like, oh, it's a 1.2 mile walk to a shop. Mate, I'm not going to stay there.
I dream daily of living in a cabin in the woods. So
you don't dream of living in a tent by the Stadium of Light, though, do you?
Well, you're just advocating for it. You're jealous of him.
Well, I'm jealous that he's happy with it. Because it seems like he's having.
Are you saying you're miserable?
He's like, yeah, pretty much. Yeah. He's having the holiday of his life, is what I'm saying. He's got some raw steak and he's sleeping in a car park, and he's like, oh, nothing's going to spoil this for me.
You got to admire his capacity for living, because if you're saying that bottle of Knob Creek was given to him like before the game at the start of his recording as a gift, I've just watched him pouring the last drops of it into a tumbler as he finishes off the last of this bottle of whiskey that he has drunk. And it's a big bottle as well. This is no small measures. And then he cooks his steak, and he's eating it with his bare hands from the pan. He's cooked that with the potatoes and his Parma ham and everything else. And then he looks very content as he shuts down tonight. I don't know how clearly he's speaking, but I mean, that's just a vision of it's the big smiley emoji where the eyes are turned, and it's just like blushing, grinning, drunken. Yeah, he seems to be having a great time. I don't know if I'm necessarily jealous, but I'm happy for him.
Yeah, I must admit, I sort of watched it and I was like, well, fair enough. Something for everyone, isn't there?
Yep.
And
as long as he's happy, I'm not judging him.
And if you can have it for free, then I just think I'd get bored. Like, he's talking, there's no one else there with him.
Yeah.
I think I'd struggle to think I was having a great night.
Right.
Just talking to a camera.
I don't know. You don't have to talk to the camera all night. You could just like read a book or watch a film or something like that on an iPad or a phone.
Would you probably be just watching a film on your phone though, thinking, I've got to tell it how what am I doing here?
It depends on it, whether you want to sort of properly rough it in northeast Sunderland, or whether you want to, be at home on your fat pig of a couch.
he does go to nice places as well.
Yeah, he does countryside stuff too.
Yeah. So
anyway,
but there is a whole. If you look at the stealth camping, there is a whole thing. I can understand the stealth camping sometimes when people do it in cars and stuff. I've watched it before when people have got a van that's a secret camper or whatever, because then they'll park it in like a nice coastal spot or something because they don't want to pay for hotels in Cornwall or whatever. I can sort of see the point of that because, but he's from Sunderland. He presumably has a house as well.
Imagine if it was just over the road.
He's like me going to Ponty Park and deciding to sleep outside for no reason.
Did you never camp in your own garden?
In fact,
when you were a kid, did you ever
camp? It's not even like going to Ponty Park. It's like going to camp in the Morrisons.
Have you ever camped in your own garden though when you were a kid?
Yeah, that's when you're a kid.
Yeah.
I suppose he's just maintaining that spirit.
Yeah, I like this. The title on this one: Dodgy Wasteland Stealth Camp in Rough Neighbourhood.
Is he in the same space? Same place. He's just outside the stadium.
He's there seems to be I don't know exactly where it is. There is a mural of what seems to be a Sunderland player on the wall. But yeah, it's good stuff.
As long as he's having a nice time and it's not hurting anybody, then fine.
Exactly.
Right. What else have we got, Michael?
Should we finish with a bit of Jesse?
Yeah. Is it another super rare?
We know you never hear from him.
No,
you never hear from him. He doesn't talk about Leeds or anything really. He just doesn't like sharing his opinions too much. But he did an interview with someone called Michael Anthony on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And it's him, once again, just explaining to us how he would have kept us up.
I was sacked at 17th, but if you went by match day 20, we would have actually been in 13th place if we were one game less played than the rest.
Do you think you would have kept them up if you stayed?
Yeah, I think we would.
Because you knew the squad and the new guy coming in.
I believe that we were, and actually the trajectory of the team after the World Cup was, by all metrics, in an extremely positive direction. And internally, we knew that. Internally, it's funny. The day I got sacked, I had a leadership council meeting with the leaders in the team, and we were discussing a few different topics. And Luke Ayling said to me, "Jesse, we just need to stay calm. Like when you came in last year, we have plenty of time. We're in a good direction. We've got this." And I said to him literally that day, "I agree with you, but I think we have time, but I don't know that I have time." And then that afternoon, I was sacked.
Yeah, we were shit, weren't we?
There's lots of things there, isn't there? I mean, straight away, it's like if we pick a different match day,
and then we win the game in hand,
and then imagine that we had a different number of points, then that would have been great. And we should have tried that. I don't know why we didn't get to how many games are there in the Premier League? 38. After we'd lost to Spurs, just say like, okay, dear Premier League, please can we pretend that we beat Tottenham today? And that Everton lost, and so then we can stay in the Premier League, please. Thank you very much. And also, like the whole thing, it's funny with Luke Ayling telling him that we just need to stay calm, which is, I feel like we spent...
Do you think he was pleading with him?
We probably spent a year of Jesse Marsh in charge, watching him vibrate, going, everybody just needs to stay calm and be less stressed. And he never quite got over it to the point where it's Luke Ayling trying to calm him down. And it's very probably illuminating to hear that his response is like, well, I think I'm going to get sacked anyway. Like, you guys might be all right. I'm not all right. And it just gives you a real illustration of how none of that ever worked and was ever going to work.
But Moscow, by all metrics, all right, granted points, points, goals scored, goals conceded, those metrics, all right, if you're going to look at those ones...
Oh, looking at the table, are we again?
If we're going to look at those ones, fine. You can say that the results since the World Cup have been a 3-1 defeat, a 0-0, a 2-2, a 2-1 defeat, a 0-0, a 1-0 defeat. Fine. If you look at those metrics, yes, things aren't going well. But if you look at my metrics, things are going well. Do you think Luke Ayling already knew that he was getting sacked?
There's been another leadership group meeting.
And he just wanted him to fuck off at this point. He comes in to talk to me, he goes, yeah, I just won't worry about it, Jesse. I think it's all going to be fine soon.
Relax.
You see.
And the other side is he's not going to go in there and say anything but positivities if he's in the leadership council. Yeah, Jesse, do you know what?
We're packed in. Been talking to the lads. We think we're done.
Knock it on the head, Jesse.
I think what is a little bit new from this interview, though, he does talk a bit about the process of the sacking and how it kind of unfolded on the day.
Well, Victor Orta and Angus Kinnear, were loitering on the outside of my office. And I could tell by their body language and the fact that they weren't just, normally they'd walk right in and say hello. I could tell. So I said, hey guys. And then they walk as they were walked in, and I said, "So it's done." And they said, "Yeah." Right. And so, yeah, of course, at that moment, then.
Did you say why?
No, I knew why. I knew why. And I'm not going to tell you why, but I knew why. So
results or.
Yeah. I mean, there were certain people involved that had been against me for a while, you know? And so, but we were aligned for most of the time. I think the way that we worked together was outstanding.
That's Rajazani, do we think?
Obviously.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, you could interpret it two ways. So it's like there were, and the question there was results. Like there were certain people who were not aligned with me all the way, the players. Because they were losing all the games. Like, I don't think that helped.
Certain people kept bringing in a copy of the league table and saying, "Look at this," and I was like, "Well, I've got some other metrics. So, what are you going to say about those?"
The data's trending otherwise.
I knew. It's good that we went. I knew why. Obviously, thinking someone at Rajazani turned, but the guy's like, results.
Is it not just that we were losing loads of games? No,
it's not that. It's because
there were dark forces at work, weren't they? Rajazani wanted me out earlier, but I mean, we know all this, that Rajazani, same as he did with Bielsa, wanted him gone earlier, and then Victor Orta told him, like, no, we stick with this, and Angus Kinnear seemed to be in the middle going, oh, God, I hope nobody blames me for this. And then it just carries on until it gets to this point. Oh, yeah, so Rajazani's finally getting his way. Yeah, because you didn't win any more games. Like, the way to have overcome any manoeuvring in the background from the owner of the club is if he's lost confidence in you, just win loads of games. There's got no arguments. And then if the key metric, instead of the imaginary ones, say, we're winning the league now, probably would still be there.
I know there was a World Cup and all that, but we didn't win a game for 3.5 months.
And it felt longer.
Yeah.
We won a cup, though.
That's true. We did.
That is true.
Yeah. So, yeah, between the Bournemouth game on Bonfire Night, 5th of November, we didn't win a game until the 25th of February against Southampton.
And I'm aware it wasn't 3.5 months, but it felt like that again before the end of the season, didn't it?
Mm.
Just long periods of misery.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he got sacked, wasn't it?
It was because of snakes.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he got sacked. Snakes with a lack of belief.
I know the reasons. Like, anybody who truly knows me knows the reasons. I'm not going to put them on here. I'm not going to say it on Facebook.
I was going to say it's full Facebook mum territory, isn't it?
Let's sign off then with just a final check-in on how Carlton, Palmer and Paddy Kenny are getting on. Because they started that podcast and they're straight talking, which sounds like a sort of an emphatic, opinionated show. Maybe ready to shake up the podcasting world.
Yeah, it was Carlton and Paddy.
Yeah.
Then it was just Carlton. And then for a month, they haven't been either of them. Just not bothering.
Just
not bothering.
Too much like hard
Rory's still going there.
Is he? That's nice for him.
His latest video's called Timo Werner is a traitor because he might be going to Spurs on loan.
Yeah, whatever. We'll see in a bit.
The Square Ball Podcast.